Did you have it under
difficulties in
king
becoming
instead
so
of baron?
popular. Oh, wow. Throwing out some big words over there, Caleb. I'm not really sure I can rebuttal that one. What I will say is your name's not Nathan. And, you know, there's
Are we
that. So
live?
now we're live. Now we're live on. So you went
Okay.
live first off as Nathan talking about aliens. And we're not doing that. You're not Nathan, and we're not talking about aliens. But you are Caleb, and we are talking about reparations and abortions. And out of the group of 15 topics you had thrown into our shared notes, the first one that stood out to me was reparations. First off, and I'll say this without any apology, because of the skin color difference between you and I.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever had that
I mean, that's why I
conversation with
threw it on there.
somebody. Right? I mean, come to find
I
out,
was black.
we
Yeah,
got to
it's
talk
fine.
to each other.
Yeah, no.
And so, go ahead. Sorry.
No, yeah, reparations is, I think it's a word that's thrown around a lot. But not everybody, I guarantee you, everybody doesn't agree on it. And a lot of times people, the lines are drawn pretty fairly clearly as far as, at least what you hear in the media is, black people want reparations, white people either fall down on either side. Some people have some semblance of guilt where they think reparations are owed, and then other people have more of a, why should I have to pay for the sins of my fathers, or why should I even have to pay since my ancestors didn't own slaves? Like, why should I have to pay? So that's typically the different the differing opinions you have on it.
That's the Fox News versus CNN version.
Right, yeah. And I think that the answer is somewhere like it usually is in the middle. It's not one or the other. But
well, that's just not allowed here on this podcast, Caleb. You have to be on one side or the other, or I'll get no sponsors like I have none already. You have to understand that.
Well, I mean, do you want sponsors or truth? Because usually when you take somebody's money, you have to say what they want you to say.
You know what?
No, but I mean, when it boils down, no, go ahead.
You are correct, but I hope that you and I eventually make people realize that truth is profitable if you find it and document the journey.
I will say this. I think truth is absolute, and I think it is profitable. Whether we find absolute truth or are able to understand it when we find it, that's up for debate. But I do think that it is absolute.
Well, I hope I never realize everything and know everything in the world, in the universe, right? Because then just like lay me down to bed. Like,
it's like
curiosity may have killed the cat, but it made Bobby wake up. You know, that's what I think.
Right. No, but I think when it boils down to it, there's a few questions you ask in regards to reparations. First, why should people get reparations? Okay. What would reparations look like? And then how do you go about doling those out if you answer the first two questions? And personally, I don't think you can answer the first two, so I don't think you ever get to how. Because when you start asking why reparations, you run into a lot of roadblocks. If you think that one people group should be monetarily compensated because of oppression, because of the history of systematic oppression, aka slavery in the South, well, why draw the line there? What about the Asian Americans who were systematically oppressed while the railroad was getting built? What about the indigenous peoples
Americans
that were
indigenous people
booted out when Columbus rolled up? Where do you draw the line, right? So A lot of people will say, well, America was founded on slavery and on racism. I actually, I think that's an oversimplification of it. I think it was a wrong and a horrible practice, but it was a practice of the time. We don't go back and say that piracy um, uh, set up a lot of, or we don't go and take people's fortunes or pirates' fortunes who were set up because of piracy, or, excuse me, privateerism, depending on like whose flag you were flying at the time. So I think it's disingenuous to say, hey, this people group is owed money by another people group because of history. I think, if anything, what you ask for is a level playing field from which to advance from this point on, right? And then you get into the conversation about equality and equity, right? Or equality of outcome versus equality of opportunity, right? So,
okay. Say that one more time. I know I do that to you a lot. That last part. Can you say that one time?
Equality of outcome versus equality of opportunity.
Can you explain that a little bit more for me?
Yeah. So you and I should both be allowed the same freedoms and privileges if we work for them. However, we should not be guaranteed the same outcome based on the privileges and the freedoms that we have. For example, it's your right and my right, let's say if we both own a plot of land, to build a house on it. If I use crappy materials and you use better materials, and my house blows over in a tornado, guess what? I shouldn't be able to walk over to you and be like, hey, no, I want your house now because we both built a house. And no, we both had the same opportunity. I could have bought better wood. I could have made my house stronger. I chose not to. And therefore, I reap the benefits of it. Now, a lot of people would jump in and say, hey, well, Bobby had access to better materials because of systemic racism in America, right? That's that's where you have to draw the line and say, okay, did he really though? Maybe you just worked harder and had more money to spend. Everybody immediately in today's society jumps to the fact, if they see any inequality, that it has to be because of racism. Where I know people of every ethnic background that have a lot of money, and I know people of every ethnic background that have not a lot of money, rich and poor. And some of those rich people, yeah, they were born into it. They have a history. Their family has wealth. Other families.
Time out.
Yeah.
The wealthy families you're talking about, I've talked to a lot, more millionaires than I thought I ever would have the past 3 years in my financial advising business, right? And most of those people I talk to are not clients because I'm not in their Wilhelm of people they go to for advice because they seek advice from people who are 20, 30, 40 years in the business. However, they do give me the opportunity to talk with them and to communicate what I have received as they don't teach their kids how to get rich. They teach their kids about money. They have a discussion with their children about money at a very young age. So I just wanted to take that time out and say that's why the wealthy stay wealthy. And
right. If you read, I think it's Edward Kiyosaki, Rich Man, Poor Man.
Robert Kiyosaki.
Robert Kiyosaki.
Yeah, that's a sore spot for me right now. But go ahead. What you got to say?
But it's the idea of what you were saying of thinking differently about money. He may not be right, but it's thinking differently about money as opposed to as opposed to get a 9 to 5, save.
Nothing wrong with the 9 to 5.
And there's nothing wrong with that. Right. There's nothing wrong with that.
But when you think differently about
people
money,
that don't know how to handle money. Right. You can see people.
Sorry,
Okay,
let me cut you off. Let me cut you off. There's a delay here, folks. Okay. So let me cut you off. My problem with Robert Kiyosaki is the fact that he, as of lately, like the past 3 or 4 years, has been in on this media fear mongering campaign for money.
Yeah.
And I don't do the whole fear thing. If what I talk about doesn't scare the shit out of you as it is, without me telling you it's scary, that's on you. But we are getting off track. So back to reparations. Back to reparations.
Right.
Back to reparations.
So
my question is.
So yes, I'll tie it in. People that get a large sum of money often don't know how to spend it well. You see that, for example, in people that win the lottery. Right?
Yep.
Right. Yep.
Every time.
They're poor, like in a couple years, sometimes much worse off than they were before they won it. And I think that if you just hand out to a bunch of people thousands of dollars because of reparations, you're going to have a lot of that. And in a lot of cases, you're going to have people far worse off than if you just said, hey, honestly, if you wanted to do reparations, here's one way that I would be okay with it. Government
Is that not affirmative action?
Correct. Yeah, it is. And affirmative action, I think, is one of the worst things that's happened to the Black community. Period.
Okay, so that's not where I was going with that is at all.
Sorry.
You always blow my mind.
Left turn. No, because I mean,
hard left.
If let's see, you and I walk into a job, right? And this is affirmative actions is a form of reparations. You and I walk into a job, we're equally qualified, or you're more qualified, but because they have a quota of how many African Americans that they need to hire, guess who gets hired? I do. That's
okay.
Wrong.
So that's okay with
wrong.
Me. That's okay with me for right now.
It shouldn't be. It shouldn't be.
Time out. Can I hear my opinion?
Yeah,
is that cool?
Yeah, sure. No, you can't.
I know this is Caleb's wisdom.
I don't know if it's wisdom or
not. I disagree. I think it is. I feel that I've lost scholarships to people that were of different color than me, and I was okay with it.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't say I was jumping for joy.
Well, that's a personal decision you made.
Because of it.
That's a personal decision you made to be okay with it, though.
Because I've grown up and I've talked at that point in time, 17, 18 years old, I wouldn't say that I had as much depth of conversations that I'm having with you and with other people of non-white color, however you want to phrase that. I think POC is the worst way to put it. I think it's really terrible to name a whole people out of an acronym.
I just say various of
variism of
people
millennium.
Of color.
How about that?
I don't like. Well, so no, I'll go one step further. I think people of color is a disingenuous way to say anybody that's not white. And white, last time I checked, was a color too.
It is in the box, but no one uses it.
Right. Well, I just say. No, yeah. Took me a minute. No,
Talk about discrimination.
Ethnic background. Right. Ethnic background, I think, is the best way to say it. People of various ethnic backgrounds. And then that includes everybody, because when you say people of color, it's like, well, okay. And when they say that...
We're getting to the point...
Go ahead.
We're getting to the point in America today where my roommate that was a Green Beret owned the house that I was his roommate in. He and his wife owned the house. So technically, like, I was renting from a quote unquote POC, which again I hate that phrase, but I'm just using the left's terminology here. I was renting from him.
Why would we use the left's terminology? Uh-huh.
Because I wanted to get people from the left to understand like my point of view and that I'm not against them.
Okay.
That I'm on their team. We're all on the same team, whether we want to realize that or not. So he had the financial advantage on me.
Mm-hmm.
Same age. And I loved him as a brother then, and I love him as a brother now. And now he will have, well, he was a quote unquote, and this is another phrase that we need to get rid of, mixed. You know, both his parents weren't black. You know, one was white, one was black, and now he married a white girl. So now that's a quarter white or a quarter. However you. Now we're getting into fractions. Damn, guys, like I got bills to pay. I can't be doing fractions on a race right now. It's really at a point in time where we have to realize that there is a commonality amongst the general population. I say general population as in like 40%, because you have 30% crazy on this side and 30% crazy on this side, and then you have 40% in the middle. That adds up, right? Yeah, 4. Okay.
Something like that, yeah.
This 40%, yeah, like hashtag I am 40%. We have to realize that we are the majority here and that we can have the say in things, because the color of my friend, we'll call him John, of John's kids, because he's a quarter, at that point, I guess a quarter black or color ethnic, he only gets a 0.25% scholarship. And now we're having to do all this math. And you know what? I'm going to say that since John's child has 2 parents that make above $200K a year, so over $400K a year household income, things have come a long way in America. And we should promote that. 100% promote that. At the same time, we need to relook at all these, reparations and realize what's wrong with the circumstances.
It needs to be merit-based.
And not the color.
It needs to be merit-based.
Merit-based, period.
It needs to be merit-based, because if you get good grades...
Hold on. Hey, I'm not done yet. I'm not done yet. Okay. So, the reason why I say that is that John went to college for free based on the color of his skin. And that may not have been an opportunity that he would have had outside of affirmative action. I'm not one to say, because I didn't see his resume or his application, but it may not have been.
Can we cut for a quick break? I have to run upstairs. I'm so sorry.
Run. I'll tell another story for the folks. All right, hey guys, I'm here. Gonna go ahead and host this with the mostest solo here. Oh, light just flashed. All right, let's check in on Facebook here. Nothing going on Facebook. Kidding. I'm not looking at Facebook. TikTok. Fonda's in here. Thank you, Fonda. And Megan, go ahead and follow you. She's a fan of Black Lives Matter, and she is a she/her. Just so you know that. I'm not sure what the Church of James is, but I followed you. So, oh no, we have the People's Bartender in here. Well, so Caleb is currently. Let me redo this. Caleb's currently minding the children, so it'll be a little bit until he's back in here. Well, what do you guys want to know a story about? Oh, well, Fonda asked me how I'm doing today. I'm doing great. Thank you, Fonda. Huge supporter of the podcast and my TikTok. I appreciate that. Cosmo says don't smoke. I agree. Smoking is terrible. And he says, just kidding, do what we want. Yeah. Well, it's not my favorite habit, but it is one that I have relied on. So Yeah, I had a great day today. I'm really hoping to do some things with the EOD community. Talked with Todd Sheckley, who's puts in so many hours of volunteer time for an EOD hotline for suicide, and it is freaking awesome what he and some other guys have created. It's basically a here, I'll show you guys a picture real fast. He's created a hotline for people in EOD to find out like your nearest EOD person to contact in case you're feeling suicidal or need somebody to talk to. Well, I can't pull that up fast enough, and Caleb's back, but I'll get more into that later. Caleb, how's the baby?
On merit-based, you were saying why? Good. He was attempting to climb out of his crib. So I was like, we can't have that. So yeah, we're good.
Hey, you know what? Somebody who thinks outside the box is going to have a child who thinks outside the crib.
Oh my gosh, you're telling me that kid, sometimes he says things that scare me. Because I'm like, you're
one of my brother's youngest
yet.
kid. Yeah. Well, he's the youngest, right? The 3-year-old or 2-year-old. He's the youngest.
That's my oldest. Yeah, he's the oldest. 3 and 1.
Oldest. 3 and 1. Oh god.
Yeah. 1-year-old's out like a light. She's
chill.
Yep, pretty much. Of the two, she's the more chill. Pun intended.
That's awesome. That's a very, very awesome and a good blessing for you and your family. So back to the merit-based.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a fan of it. I ain't gonna argue with me on that.
If it becomes merit-based, then you can. People will have to work harder now. That I think that there's a lot of uphill roads that we have to climb as far as getting like inner city schools to where they can compete with some of your more rural schools, right?
Okay.
So I'm not saying.
So that's something that a lot of people in rural America. Hold on, in rural America, aka like white America, what people envision. That's something that I didn't know about how bad it was until literally like 2 weeks ago, when I talked to a girl who went to schools in inner city Philadelphia. Like, fuck.
Yeah.
Sorry for my French.
Good. It's horrible.
It ain't good. No. It is not the public system that you grew up in Oklahoma, in Texas, in Arkansas, etc. It is a different ball game, and it's something that has got to be addressed. And these young people are coming out of these circumstances upset, and we have to listen to it.
And so that, if anything, so like if you want to talk about systemic racism in America, I think the school system is one of the, and the lack of equity there is that's a problem. Now, whether or not
example or what do you mean?
Inner city school quality versus and it's not racism just against black people. It's racism against ethnic people of all stripes that are in that school system.
What would you even call that? That's not even the right word. It's unopportunistic to be growing up in that environment. My camera froze.
It's a life financial setback. You're a setback in life. You're underprivileged.
Yeah. Okay. I'll agree with that.
The correct.
Underprivileged is a great word for that, and that's why I have you on Wednesdays.
Because
underprivileged inner city schools.
Because and so like once you make sure that everybody has the same type of has the same type of ability going in, I think then you can, as it were, level the playing field. And you can level a playing field, and then you have everybody that graduates from high school should have had the same opportunities to study, to become educated. And then if you want to go to college, which is a whole nother ball of wax, if you want to go to college and get a degree, you have the same opportunities to apply for that and be qualified for it. So that's what I'm going to say on that.
You know what we need? We need a third person to chime in on what everyone's talking about. Well, I mean, like I need. When I asked for volunteers on my TikTok a few weeks ago, it was amazing. I had like over 30 people say that they'd help me, like 1 to 2 hours a week. And one of those job titles that I really would appreciate is having somebody per podcast, you know, like monitoring all the different platforms, right? So that I can actually focus 100% on you, just like, you know, Joe Rogan does with his guests. And then, you know, somebody else chime in like, hey, what about this? Or, you know, whatever. We're running a full show here for free because we love what we're talking about. And I was gonna let you go. It's what? It's awesome.
No, I'm ready. Yeah, you know, it's awesome. Like, I think that when you're doing something and not getting necessarily like paid for it, like we're doing the show for free, you have the liberty to make it a much better product because, like you said, there's no strings attached to any money because there's no money.
Yeah. It's like, yeah, I can say it and go fuck yourself if you disagree. So there's that. Oh, you want to call my boss? That's funny. Here's my phone number. 405-802.
He'll get right back to you. You want to switch
quick shout
topics?
out on TikTok.
I've got about
30 minutes left.
No, you do shout out. No, go.
Yeah, okay. Shout out on TikTok to Derek and Lindsay from the great state of where are those Mormons from? Utah.
It's Utah.
I know. I was just adding the pause for dramatism. So our next topic is I know, right? It's awful. Is abortion. But before we get started there, I think that the reparations conversation has a lot more to be gained, but that's a great 30-minute conversation. Thank you for that. Now let's move on to abortions. That was another topic out of 15 that you had written down for us to discuss. And honestly, all 15 were bangers, as the kids say these days. They were sheesh or whatever. I gotta say, reparations and abortions stuck out to me for different reasons. I already told you why reparations stuck out to me at the very beginning, and now I'm going to say why abortions stuck out to me. It's because you're a family man. You have at it.
Well, I think a lot of people are pro-life. I think a lot of people are pro-choice. That's obvious. But I think I'll start with two things. I am pro-life. And it's not because I don't think a woman has a right to choose. I think she does. I think she loses that right when it becomes not her body. And I think that's very clear from a pregnancy, because if you look at basically where we sit now at the definition of life, it revolves around intent of the mother. And that's a far too arbitrary definition. And what I mean by that, it's a baby if the mother wants it. It's a fetus if she doesn't. And if somebody, and I'll address this. So the irony of two men talking about abortion is not lost on me, because a lot of people will say, well, you don't have a uterus, so you can't talk about this. That is a false flag argument.
Well, you don't drink, so you can't talk to me about my DUI.
Right. Or you don't have pew pew, so you can't talk to me about mine or why I shouldn't have one, right? So I think
that's about as
first
dumb
off,
as argument as you can get.
we all make just judgments about other people all the time. Before women gained the right to vote, they couldn't vote. So men could have said, "You don't get to vote."
When times were good. When times were good is what you mean. When times are good.
No, I'm separating myself, Bobby. That is your view. I am not gonna. Women should have probably had the right to vote before guys did.
Well, according to Adam and Eve, that shit did not work out for us.
Yeah, no.
Hey, I'll put you in a tough spot, man. That was a tough spot.
No. I'll leave you with this. Adam and Eve wasn't voting. Eve, the one time a woman picked where they should eat, she picked wrong, and since then, they haven't been able to choose where to eat. So that I'll just leave it at that. And
that's messed up. That's messed up. Hope you ain't running for office either.
No, I think when you talk about pro-life, pro-choice, I am a proponent of defending all life, whether you are an infant that is just conceived or whether you are an 80-year-old person. Because let's be honest, if it's just that the mom doesn't want the baby, well, when your parents get up there in age and they're a burden and you don't want them anymore, maybe we should just euthanize them. I mean, but the only difference really is time between, right, or people on hospice. Like, should you even be able to keep somebody or on life support? Sorry, not hospice. Somebody on life support. Should you be able to just walk in and unplug them and be like, you know what, we didn't want them anymore? And I think that there's a huge aspect of responsibility that comes into play here for actions. And I'll put it this way: the majority, I think I did some research on this, but the statistics I believe bear out that most abortions are not because of a health risk to the mother. So if for a minute I were to yield to the opposition that, okay,
let me throw the stat at you real fast.
Okay.
This is a stat that everyone can look up. In the District of Columbia, so DC, what would you assume or estimate the percentage of abortions were in 2018 out of pregnancies? You know, women came in, were pregnant, and then aborted. You know, obviously that's a stat. So what would you say that?
Do you want a number or do you want a percentage? Okay, percentage.
Percentage.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
I'd say 60%.
Wow. Way more than what I would have guessed, like 10%. The actual numbers closer to 42 to 45%.
Okay.
Bro, yeah, that broke my heart.
Yeah.
Well, you're high for a reason, and I was low for a reason. So that's kind of another dynamic that we could hit on some other time.
I'm more of a skeptic. I'm not optimistic when it comes to things like that.
Bro, I thought 10% was high.
No. No.
I'm from Oklahoma.
So I think, yeah, dude, I'm from Washington. So here's the thing. If a mother decides that they want the baby and somebody walks out the next day and kills her, the mother, it's a double homicide.
I'm going to go on a different approach different than anyone's ever gone politically on this discussion. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Why are you having sex with people that you don't envision a future with?
Yeah, the buck would stop there. But see, people would also give the fallacy to that argument is, what about cases of rape? It's a minority,
You know
but
what?
it does happen.
Oh yeah, it's a minority, but it's not. It is very significant for the women that it happens to.
So
And
correct.
and
But what
in
I'm
that
saying is
circumstance,
your argument for abortion, if you are completely 100% pro-life, has to transcend rape. It has to address that.
oh,
Right?
I'm for your choice of whatever you want to do. But I'm going to vote as a politician, as a pro-life. Like, I hope that you vote in your district.
I don't think it's
whatever you think is right. But for me personally, these are my convictions.
Correct. But here, but you can't say that. But
hold on, listen to what I'm saying. You're thinking on the national level.
No, I'm thinking on a local level. I think it should be illegal. Period.
Okay.
Why should we legalize murder?
And I at the end of the day, you and I agree on this.
I know. But my question to you is,
however,
why should if it were shooting people in the face, let's take it out of the abortion conversation. If it were shooting people in the face, right? Personally, I feel that it's wrong to shoot people in the face. But if you shoot people in the face, right? That's basically that's what it comes down to. So when it's what are you showing me?
I'm not showing you. I'm not showing you anything. Number. I'm trying to. Yeah.
Oh.
For this is after Caleb is off, by the way, guys. Caleb's time is precious to me.
I think that when you're talking about whether or not somebody should be able to kill somebody else, society as a whole has a moral obligation to protect that life. Period. Full stop.
Okay. Cool. I agree. That's not going to win. Okay. This argument has been happening, Caleb, for decades, and we're not winning it. We got to change our strategy.
Is that the point? Is that the point to win the argument?
I phrased that wrong. The point is to save children's lives. You jerk.
Okay.
Damn it. You got me. CNN would have had a great time with that one. He doesn't care about children. All he cares is about winning the argument. Yeah, Jane Fonda, you're right.
So I think, yeah, I think if you start capitulating on little sessions, like, well, okay, it's my choice. No, it's not just your choice, Bobby. It's the truth. It's the truth. And if you did
you decide or not?
Did I decide what or not?
Yeah. If I capitulate.
If you capitulate on the truth, then you're giving ground when you should be standing it. There's a military term for you. Like, stand your ground. Like, you're not wrong. Now, are there different approaches in how you can have the conversation with people? Absolutely. Absolutely. But there's a line in the sand, and that line is a life. And if you allow people to say, well, we should be able to kill somebody in this instance, an innocent person. I will clarify, an innocent. Telling people that they should be allowed to kill innocent people in certain circumstances, then as soon as, or because there's no value in that person, or because that person has no intrinsic rights yet, right? It's a very slippery slope, because once you give that hill up, they've got you on skates, and you really have no other place to plant your flag that's solid. Give me 1 second. My doorbell just rang.
All right, so this is where the FBI gets my friend, and the show's over. Kidding. All right. So back to the TikTok live stream since maybe the people are also on YouTube. Let me check that out.
Okay.
Oh, that's weird.
What?
Nothing. I texted you. Okay. Was somebody there?
Okay.
What do you mean? That was weird.
Yeah, it was my wife. She just got. I had locked the screen door accidentally. So
Okay.
we have about 15 more minutes.
That wasn't weird. That was just you locking the door. Okay. Weird would have been what happened to me, and I ain't getting that. All right.
Oh, okay.
So I have an idea for you. Talking about military stuff. Let's go with the military aspect, right? So, Nazi Germany equals bad, right?
No argument from here.
Okay. So, do you know what America and other countries did to help us win the war before America even got involved?
Educate me.
Insurgent operations.
Okay.
I would go head to head with anybody to argue that World War II was the first case of widespread insurgency, and in the case of good. You know, insurgency is, more in today's terms related to the terrorists or whatever.
Right.
Countries like England, France, Scandinavia, the Isles, Italy, Greece, all had prominent heroes. I would consider heroes that were insurgents amongst the German-controlled European countries.
Okay.
And
so committing acts of violence and terror on innocents in the attempt to weaken Germany.
Okay, so that's where we differ. They didn't have acts on the innocents.
No, I'm asking, is that what you're saying? I wasn't saying that. I was asking. Sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. Okay. So they targeted military objectives, such as railroads, such as German troop lines, bridges, etc. Now that could be turned into easily, which it was by the German propaganda, as find the traitors and they're trying to stop your food.
Right.
Don't mind the thousands of pounds of TNT and gas that we're putting in the chambers for the Jews. Don't worry about that. Just get on the Z train. Show me your papers, or whatever they said. So the insurgency factor was real. Now, why do you think well, let me end that story with saying the insurgency operations is why we won the war. And I'll go head to head with any historian on that.
Right.
Because the inside intelligence on how to defeat the enemy.
Right.
Where do you draw the line in what's going on in our social current structure that has the inability to talk to the opposite side, right? You're using all the same arguments that Fox News and Tucker Carlson use. It's ineffective.
As far as abortion is concerned?
Yes.
Okay.
It's ineffective.
So I think, right. I think it's largely, so I would venture that it's somewhat ineffective because of the disingenuity of the other side to have an honest conversation, right? So if you start having a conversation, let's say science, right? We have a conversation based in science. No one to this day has been able to prove why at inception, that's not a baby. That's not a right or left
I'm not trying to
disagreement. That's science.
I agree with you, and you know that. And I'm not trying to say that you're wrong in your thinking. What I'm trying to bring to you,
even though it's accurate,
we got to change things up a little bit.
So, what would you suggest as a more effective way to do that? Because I think once you start, if you're not accurate.
Well, I mean, look at the numbers. Abortions over time have increased. So I'm accurate.
Right. And I think that
arguments
that's
haven't changed.
Testament to the right. But I think that's more of a testament to the culture as we've become more of a convenience culture. It's inconvenient for me to have a baby. Well, I'll just get rid of it. I don't think, no, I'll put it this way. I do not honestly believe that anybody getting abortion thinks that it is morally acceptable. Or if they actually thought it through, they would agree that it's morally acceptable. I think they are lying to themselves.
After speaking with this young woman last week or the week before that, the one from Philadelphia in the inner city schools, my eyes were open wide of some things I never thought of. And in conjunction with that, Jesus had also placed, in my beliefs, Jesus placed another young man who's I would call him a young 50 Cent. Literally has millions of views on YouTube, and he's a Crip gangster, and we've live streamed together twice, and both times awesome conversations.
Nice.
I've come to realize that in Oklahoma, I thought I knew it. I thought I understood or had a concept, at least, maybe not obviously an exact idea, but a concept of what it was like to be, black in Oklahoma. But being black in Philadelphia or black in Chicago is totally different. Inner city.
Yeah, no, it is.
And that's new to me, brother. That's brand new to me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, well, shit, right?
Yeah, no, it's
I'm 34, still learning.
It's definitely different where you were raised, and that informs on it. But I think I'll bring it back to the fact that truth is absolute. So right and wrong, morality is not in this case situational. I won't say in every case, because I'm sure somebody could come up with some case where, but morality when it comes to killing an innocent person is not situational to someone else's circumstance, so, or where you grew up. So killing an innocent child doesn't matter if I'm a black person that grew up in Seattle, doesn't matter if I grew up in Philadelphia, doesn't matter if I grew up in Oklahoma. The killing of an innocent child is wrong across the board, unequivocally. And
I'll never disagree with you on that.
We may need to figure out a way that I will always allow that. Yeah, we need to figure out a way that we can reach these people that we disagree with better. There might be a better way to package it. There might be a way that we can come and say, hey, maybe have compassion. And no. I think one of the ways is, I think a lot of times we, instead of...
Do you want the proof right now? Do you have time for the proof? Do you have 10 minutes? Ask your wife if you have 10 minutes. I'll show you the proof. Ask your wife. First off, I want permission from your wife because she's working her ass off on something. And I don't know what it is.
I got 5. I can give you 5.
All right.
Show me the proof.
5 minutes. Well, 10 days ago, I walked into Clubhouse thinking that I was going to have people from my TikTok, since I was currently banned at the time, talk about aliens. So I put a post up on TikTok like, hey, I'll be on Clubhouse. You want to talk about aliens? Cool. Nobody showed up. That bitch. Ain't nobody show up. I was like, well, fuck.
You didn't call me.
I put it on TikTok, bro. I thought you were signing me. All right. So I wandered into a group called, conspiracy theorist, fact or fiction, question marks, lots of weird symbols and stuff. I was like, well, seems right up my alley. Turns out I entered the room at Clubhouse. Clubhouse is a chat room where you can see someone's face, their profile picture, and it's an audio only, no video, but audio only. And you have to get invited to speak, Anyway, I wander into this room full of black people. 60 of them, ish. Not that I counted.
Okay.
I was the only white guy. Not the room I thought I was going into. The amount of comparisons or relativity I have to that that interaction to the KKK for whites is incredible. Less than about 2 hours of it all audio recorded. And the guy hosting this is very prominent in the black community. Very prominent. He's on BET, has a BET Awards, has MTV Awards, has, I think, an Emmy or something. So this isn't me, like, speaking out of my ass like some random person. This is somebody who has significant influence. And it was, I felt as if, like, wow, this is if 1821, 200 years ago, happened on the internet. And roles are completely reversed. However, me sitting there and taking that, I don't want to say lashing, because that's not a very comparison, but taking this stupidity.
Interesting choice of words.
Well, I was going to say tongue lashing, but
no, but that,
I'm not great with my words.
Still wrong, Bobby. It's still wrong. It's still wrong.
But however,
however,
I knew, my heart knew, and I felt Jesus telling me that I was there for a good reason. Talk about aliens. I was there for an innocent reason, not trying to cause trouble. And then I realized that they had a topic I could contribute to, and I tried to. And they said what I would imagine. I've never been called worse words. I've never felt more. I was scared, honestly, and felt really betrayed and hurt that I was there in good conscience. But all that aside, my love for my human kind and Jesus, as children, Jesus' children, told me to stay there. And I had 5 people reach out to me on Instagram out of those 60 and say, hey, sorry about that. Keep doing what you're doing. I love you for what you did. And, they all have different messages of what they wanted to share. But my point is, go to the places that are dark. Go to the places that are not agreeing with us to get along. And I promise you, you'll find people searching for some kind of truth.
I think that we as Christians, a lot of times think that, so 2 things. The Bible says, the word of the Lord will not return to him void. And so when you go out and you speak the truth in the darkness, you will have an effect on people as they hear that truth. You have to do it, speak the truth in love, right? You can't be out there yelling. That's why I don't like Alex Jones. That's why Tucker Carlson, those type of guys that are shouty. It's not how you do it. It's not how you do that, right? They're not wrong. They're saying it the wrong way, so they're wrong, right? And so when you go out and you sit with these people, you have to speak the truth and love to them, and you have to do it in humility. And I think we all fail at that, but we have to. And I'll tie it into this: we're not going to change somebody's mind without Jesus Christ doing a work in their heart, right? So we have to speak the truth and love to them. We have to, these people that think abortion is okay, we can't just hate on them for murdering babies. We have to explain to them that this is a life created in the image of God, and that he loves them, and that they, when they commit this this act on this innocent child, they're desecrating the image of God, and they're made in the image of God, and they have value, so they need a relationship with Jesus Christ, and that's the only way they're going to change who they are and what they're doing. Because frankly, if Jesus Christ isn't a thing, then abortion is completely fine. Because he's the only reason that we have value in life, right? So
I'm going to do one better. And
sorry, I didn't mean to dominate you. Yeah, go ahead.
I know you have to end this. Okay, so I will end this. That was your last statement, by the way. And I will end it with my last statement. First off, thank you very much, Caleb, for all your wisdom. Your conversations are unfortunately too short, but leaving the people more to be wanted. I say people as in myself. And I'm sure everyone else too, though, that's listening to this. I think that you and I need to have a discussion on the approach.
Okay.
We're all salesmen for Jesus. And I think that my guardian angel, Gus, aka, an alien or whatever, helped lay out for me.
I didn't know he had a name.
What's next?
Okay, that's cool.
Oh, he told me his name. Yeah.
Oh, no, you shared that with me.
Anyway. My bad. But he laid out, the future possibilities for myself, and now I'm realizing more and more that Christianity has to be carried into this information age, just like in the industrial age, how Christianity was. It had to be almost converted to accept technology, and there's challenges to be accepted with the information on everyone's fingertips on how the Bible is wrong. And we have to help each other prepare for that. Not prepare, but arm each other with the Word of God. And at the end of the day, I can never tell someone that Jesus is going to save their lives. All I can tell them is Jesus saved my life. And if you want to be as happy as I am, I'm not always happy, but I'm happy a lot of the times. Jesus is how I get there.
Honestly, Bobby, I don't think Jesus promises happiness. Jesus promises peace.
I have peace.
There you go. Because
I love you, Caleb, so much.
Happy, but because of Christ, we have peace.
And this is why we're such a great duo, man.
Well, I appreciate your time letting me come on. Catch you later. Bye.
Tell your wife, thank you very much. All right, now it's just me. All right, guys. Thank you so much for listening. Please subscribe, hit the like button, all that good stuff. Catch you on the flip side.